Boom. Oh, what's going on, everyone? Welcome. It's 11 a.m., sort of, on a Wednesday here in New York. So we're live. Coffee with Creators. This is not a green screen. This is 42 West 18th Street right here at Adorama in the middle of the Flatiron District of New York. You guys are always welcome here. These seats are here for you as much as this chat room you're in right now, or if you're watching this on playback, that comment section. Don't forget, you can always swing by here. If you're coming into the city, you're going to want to check out. We got a lot of events coming up, so make sure you check out adorama.com/events for that schedule. But I got a guy here with me. You're going to have to get to know him before we get into who William Vasquez is. And I let this guy loose because let me tell you, you want to talk about talking? You forget about it. But you're going to realize why he is who he is and how he does what he does just by the presence of this guy right here. So really quick, let's get into saying thank you to our sponsor. Boom, Garmin. You know that name because it's been around probably since the beginning of human existence for all navigation purposes. We're talking about smartwatches that check on your health and all your vitals, but are built to take the outdoors, which you travel like crazy. I know you use some of it. It's not just for navigation, but you use what, the communicators?
Yes, I use a satellite communicator that they make that works in conjunction with your phone. So, you know, when I'm traveling up in the mountains, there's no cell phone, there's no nothing. So, you know, you get into problems, you're happy to have that.
So check out the links down below for everything about Garmin. And thank you so much for sponsoring. Want to give a quick thank you to Tenba for sponsoring this. They heard we do this. They were like, we want to support. What can we do? Well, they made a custom Coffee with Creators camera bag for us. And that is your new bag, man, from Tenba.
Fancy.
Nice, right?
Yeah.
Tenba's, they've been around since 1977. This started by a photographer right here in New York. If you've been in this industry long enough, you've had a Tenba bag. I know you've had a bunch of Tenba bags.
Yeah, my whole career is basically a life of Tenba bags. You know, I can sort of judge. Oh yeah, I got that when I first started. They used to be in Brooklyn.
Yeah, well, it's really cool because all their like cards and branding is all about all Brooklyn and all New York iconography. So it's very cool. Check out the links down below for the full lineup, backpacks, rollers, everything in between. And last, you know, we got to thank Gotham Roasters over there on 19th Street. Cheers, kid. What'd you get?
I got a latte. So, you know, I know it's supposed to have like, well, not milk after a certain period, but hey, such is life.
I do the black cold brew. I keep it real. Real. Gotham's over there on 19th Street. Go up there, say what's up, say Adorama sent you, then come here for a class. Like there's one tonight. If you're watching live, there's another one at 5 o'clock on the events channel. Yeah, so
coffee's good.
Yeah, and it's owned by a photographer and filmmaker, so you're supporting the game a little bit here. So you like how we did that?
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, William Vasquez. Who is this guy? Well, shoots a lot of amazing stuff all over the world. NGOs. I would say you find the magic in some tragic situations. You find real humanity out there. You find not just special moments, but stuff guys like me wouldn't see normally. You're bringing the world to everyone else, but you're also bringing issues. You're bringing cultures, and you're bringing, I want to say like current events, but basically what's happening at the moment while you're there. And that's really what you do, right? So what's in it? First of all, if you don't know, because I know I got a lot of young kids in here, what's an NGO, and what do you do for them?
It's a non-governmental organization. So basically they do things that are like helping people, feeding people, providing medical help, all sorts of things that governments should be doing a lot of times, but they can't for a variety of reasons, lack of money or resources or expertise. So, but you know, there are many NGOs all over the world. Some of them big ones are based here, some of them small ones, and they all do amazing work. I mean, they truly do help people. So it's a privilege to work with them. So a lot of times I got started doing that, working with companies that do philanthropy, and they would provide funds to these NGOs to, you know, do the work that they do. So that's how I sort of got sent to doing this. And then I just kind of got hooked. I just found my niche, you know. So I think that was the... When I first started out, I was a bit of a, how should we say, journeyman photographer. I shot a lot of different things. Yeah. I did, you know, I started out doing still life, which I just don't have the patience for anymore. I really don't. And then I started doing like annual reports, but that was a thing then. Now it's not a thing anymore. And that was amazing work. You travel the world, photographing all sorts of stuff. And so I started focusing on NGO probably about, I wouldn't say NGO work, humanitarian work, documentary is probably a better description.
Okay, that's fair.
For probably like the last 10 years or so. So it's been great. I mean, it's I just love, as you know, we were talking for a while here. I'm a bit of a talker. So and that's I think that's part of my shtick.
You mean part of being from New York,
Yeah, I think it's also part of my. I think I discovered it was a way to distract people from being photographed.
Yeah, you got to be personable.
And I think that if people, people a lot of times you point a camera at them and they sort of stand up straight and they're like, have their picture taken.
Yeah.
Who wants that, right? So what I wanted is to get them like this into sort of natural moments of having a conversation or whatever. So I just talk.
You also go into some remote areas where they might not have a camera in their face all the time, so they're not really sure what you're trying to get out of there. Do they ever think you're like being exploitative and you have to explain it?
No. The most amazing thing I've seen is is that you travel places where they're not like. I'll give you an example. India, right?
Yeah.
They're not really used to being photographed. India's in the chat. And my favorite place for amazing country. I love going there. I go there at least 3 times a year. Anyway, so. You point a camera at them and they're really excited about being photographed.
Cool.
Really excited. I mean, they're just like, sometimes they'll pose, which is not good, but they're like not shy. It's like amazing. They'll love doing selfies with you. It's just amazing. So, yeah. And I think this idea, like you're being exploitive or something. I think when people see me and how I approach them, it's not like I'm there to take something from them, So
do you go there to connect first, then shoot, or you?
Well, I think the biggest challenge with documentary work is access. Number one, how are you going to get there, and how are people going to perceive you in there, right? So, are they going to perceive you as a taker? Or are they going to perceive you as somebody who's giving them something, or at least meeting them in equal terms? So, I try to get good access, through locally, and with hopefully a translator, and sometimes hey, I can look. That's a good one. It's a good picture. He's, you got it. Sometimes you got to dress the part. This is in Rajasthan, and this is like, these dudes, they just hang out all day. These shepherds are waiting for the heat of the day gets past so they can take their flocks out. And they're just like drinking tea and shooting, just talking. So,
but it's cool that they let you into their culture. Like, there's a lot of people that can either be like, it's ours, not yours, but they're like, no, come share it, feel it.
You have to approach people in a way that you're their friend, that you want to know about them. You want to understand what they're doing. You want to see how they work. You want to, this is where I was working in Nepal after the earthquake, working with the UN. And this is in Himalayas up in Ladakh, India. Amazing place, by the way.
It looks amazing.
One of those Royal Enfield motorcycles, it's just, I've tried to cut back on some of my cowboy stuff because I've already broken both my legs. So at one point or another, doing something stupid. So,
Is it on a job?
No, it's usually on some travels of some sort, So, my last one was in Italy on a motorbike on a mountain road in some island off of the coast of Naples. So that was an interesting experience. So, yeah, I just, what? It's not about getting hurt. I just don't have the time.
Oh, no, I get it.
It's like 40 days. You like sitting on the sofa.
Not even that. Like, people ask me why I don't ride anymore. If I break my hands, I don't know how I'm going to pay my rent. All right. I can't afford that anymore. I'm not that punk anymore that can do this,
No, like I say, cowboy stuff. So even though I say that, but then like I'm in the mountains or I'm like trekking or I'm like doing something that's, not usually considered like safe.
Well, don't you think that's part of what you do now? Not just being a pro photographer, being like a pro traveler, pro journalist.
Yeah. One of the things I started doing, because, the world is just changing as photography and photographers and the work we did before, the clients we worked with before is just not there, or they've changed attitudes, or they've changed priorities. So, or there's just no money for that anymore. So you got to like adapt. So what do I have that besides taking pictures? And I think it's my experience in travel, where I've traveled the world in all these really remote places, and I see the world in a different way than like a tourist would. So I go to places that tourists won't go, but it's the most like amazing, authentic experience you could possibly have. So and now I just take groups to, travel. You want, photographers.
So how do you find those places though? If it's not a tourist place, how do you find?
Oh, it's places I've been on assignment. I mean, usually when I'm on assignment, I'm in some, out of the way remote place. I'll be in some farms, be in some like, village in Rajasthan. And then, you meet people and you create, and it's easy to sort of like create these these trips where I have like personal experience in, you know, and I'll go and show you stuff that you could never do on your own. You couldn't find on TripAdvisor.
Nice.
You couldn't just show up and just do it. You
Do
know,
you have a blog where you share all this stuff?
you know, it's like I'm a little lazy.
Yeah. No, I mean, I don't know, man. You know, well,
I've gotten to the point I don't know if I want to work that hard anymore. But I have a website. It's called Camera Voyages. So I do trips, and I do like adventure, culture, and I also do, you know, all sorts of things. It's funny. I started out doing photo tours. Actually, it started with phase 1.
Whoa! Wow. Okay, that's a name I've heard in a minute.
In Cuba.
Okay.
So 2015, I was approached by someone at Phase 1, Digital Transitions, actually.
Actually, I took a 2-day class over there. If you don't know what phase 1 is, think of the largest format sensor you can think of in digital that's in a camera body, not like an actual back. And, 6 figures.
They're kind of like the Rolls Royce of cameras, literally.
It's crazy.
The Bentleys, actually. So they approached me and they said, hey, you want to do a photo trip using our cameras to Cuba? I had never been to Cuba, and I was like, you know what? I never considered even doing these photo tours. I get, sure, why not? So I did it. Oh my God, we took down like 10 kits. That was like $250,000 worth of gear.
It's got to be more than that. It's got to be, right? Because one camera's like 6 figures.
I mean,
right?
the lenses are like 10 grand, 15 grand. I mean, it was just crazy. I mean, they make amazing photographs.
So if you don't know, like a lot of the stuff they archive for like museums sometimes are shot on phase 1, basically. So stuff like that. Or years ago, it was all about car commercial. I remember every car commercial was like, campaign was
So, and they were based on Mamiya bodies, 645 bodies at that point, right? And so I remember we're there and we're photographing, and we're in some plaza photographing some dancers and these 2 photographers, some other photographers, the European guys, they come by and they see us and they're like, oh my God. And they start talking to us. And they're like, I go, what? They were like, this is like seeing 10 Lamborghinis.
That's amazing.
So, yeah, I mean, it was such a great trip. And so I started doing more of those. Like, oh, you know, this is like something good. And I started doing more of those for them and for myself. And then I started expanding into India, Nepal, Bhutan. Now I do Europe. So, you know, and then it became not just photographs. It became like cultural things. Mm-hmm. So anything that's interesting always be photogenic. It's just hands down, whatever it is.
Yeah, but I think one of the things that people overlook, especially if they're not familiar with this type of work, is one, things are different on paper until you see an image back from what's actually the assignment. Yeah. And 2, it doesn't matter the language. Images, unless you're blind, are the most universal language you can figure out. So everywhere you're going, whoever sees that image is going to connect with it on some level, because it's not about what they speak or read or whatever.
Yes. So this is what. So when I do my trips, it's not about learning photography technically. You want to do that? You get the machine does it for you. YouTube channels. I'm not going to be in India sitting in some like room talking Photoshop. That's crazy. I mean, that's just like the world is out there.
Yeah.
So I teach people kind of how to see, you know, like why you take that picture. What's the purpose of that photo?
What to look for.
And also the kind of the ethics involved in doing photography in these places.
So what is ethics to you in situation? Because,
you know, don't take exploitive pictures. You know, little kids with no clothes on, or even though it's probably normal and natural in these places, don't do that, because the audience is going to look at that. It's not going to see it that way.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, things to think about. You know, really, I just want people to be aware of why they're taking a photograph.
Right.
The why. That's what I get paid to do as a photographer, is to the why of that photograph. So, because when somebody's looking at that photograph, it's talking, like you were just saying.
Yeah.
And you need to be able to, in that photograph, put things that people will be able to see, and like you're talking to them. You're saying something. So when you're conscious about that, then your photographs are speaking.
Yes.
And in the language that you want it to say.
Yeah.
Not by accident.
Every demo I do, I tell every decision you make in that frame is a word in a sentence. It's got to connect. It's got to be coherent. And you have control of that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you remember you're creating something, not recording something.
Yeah, and you're delivering it too. I always think of it that way. Like the viewer, you're delivering it to viewer.
Exactly. And the way I look at my photography is a conversation between me, my subject, and the person who's looking at it.
Absolutely.
So I'm not doing like photojournalism where it's sort of like I'm recording a moment. I mean, granted, there's a whole art to that too. I'm not putting it down. But my pictures, I'm very much involved in my photograph. I'm not there by accident.
No, I think that's a choice everybody has to make. Like, are you a participant or are you an observer in whatever situation? And you were you make a point of connecting with people. You're not grabbing shots. You are making them aware that you're there.
It's very rare that I do a grab shot. Very rare. Usually what'll happen is something will happen in front of me, and then I go, oh, I missed that. Damn. So then I go, okay, how can I make that moment happen again?
Yeah. Organically.
And that is where the art goes into it. And this is where you got to understand human nature, how people think, how people react to certain stimulus of what you're doing.
Right.
So, I mean, I'll give you an example. I mean, I don't have a picture of it here, but it's in my it's on my website. It's on my Instagram. Anyway, there's these 3 Indian women, and I was standing outside. It's probably a little farther down.
Don't worry about it. Go for it.
Anyway, I'm standing outside this window, and they're talking, and then I saw one of the one in the middle look towards me, towards the other woman, and smiled. Beautiful smile. Was like perfect. Oh my God. And she was like looking perfect. Everything was perfect. Red saris. It's just amazing. Anyway, so I want that to happen again. How do you make that happen again? They don't speak English.
Yeah.
If I talk to her, she's going to look at me and go, huh? So what I did is I talked to the woman next to me who didn't understand a word I was saying. And I pointed to the other woman. And what did she do? She touched the other woman, said something. She laughed, most likely at my expense. And I got the picture. So, to me, that is how you can create things. It's creating things.
It's clever.
And it's not like I'm being fake. Mm-hmm. That thing happened. Whatever's happening there is happening there. I'm just sort of like, how should we say, nudging things along a little bit.
It's still genuine demeanor.
Yes.
It's still genuine vibe of what's in the space, in the environment, the atmosphere.
Exactly. I'm not changing any of that.
No.
What I'm changing is the moment. Or the framing. Sometimes it's just a matter of getting somebody to move a little bit off to the corner or whatever.
You're not going into ChatGPT and generating smile. What's wrong with you? We're in 2026. You don't do that.
That ChatGPT. I do use it. I mean, not for photography because I just can't imagine doing it for that.
It's killing me.
But then I see amazing stuff with that. By the way, I mean just as a side, but I don't know. It's like, where's that going to go? How's that going to affect everything? I mean, it's sort of like.
But don't you think what you're doing is one of the, and I'm not saying all photography, but is one of the few frontiers that it has to be exactly true. It has to be genuine. I mean, you're not retouching these people.
I mean, if you're doing news and like, but yes. I don't do news.
You kind of are.
Yes,
You're
but
just
no.
not to those platforms.
Exactly, but no, it's not considered news. I am there sort of managing things in some way. So what's to say that, the thing is, I think now with the technology and all these platforms of disseminating images are so vast that there's so many buckets that need to be filled. It's like a black hole that you can never fill. And I think that, and it's just going to get worse. So I think like
there's no hope, kids. Run.
No. I mean, that thing, authenticity is always going to, but this is the thing where we need to sort of create that demand. Mm-hmm. Of authenticity. There's always going to be this room for that somewhere, like the art form. And now you see people shooting film, I mean, for a variety of reasons. Yeah. But I think it's also because people want to get back to sort of a more tactile connection to things versus just doing things on a keyboard.
I think we have a generation that is very wise to what's being served to them as plastic and sanitized and not genuine. And they're trying to find something that, because in the end, you're still human. Yeah. You were born human, and you're just trying to connect to something on a real level, and actually it's kind of refreshing to see like no more overly retouched human beings. I always say to like people like, I'm worried someone's going to grow up and not know what their grandma really looked like. You know what I mean? Like there's no blood vessels, there's no nothing, but like there's also lack of moments because you walk New York, everyone's doing some curated thing with their phone. Like, oh, make it look like I'm shopping. Yeah. Like we can't even organically shop anymore.
Yeah. No, and I think that it's like for me, I shoot film, and it's not for how it looks necessarily. Yeah, it's more about how it makes me work. So, for example, when I first started, I used to shoot large format. I do portraits with like 4x5, medium format, and I would choose the camera towards what kind of the assignment was about or how I wanted to work. And like, for example, there's a black and white photo here that I have, old 4x5 Polaroid, and the ones I sent you. This one? Oh no, that's our Run DMC. I'll talk about that in a minute. I emailed you those earlier, I think. This is what I got. The first time around.
Oh no, I didn't.
All right, doesn't matter. Anyway, you have. It doesn't matter. It's okay. My fault. You have a moment with this person, and you have this device in front of them, and what do? I mean, this is the problem I see that with the device is that if you don't have domination over your machine, people get bored. You
And
see
they lose trust.
you see their face sort of go, oh man, this is taking so long. What's this guy doing? So this is where the talking comes into play. I'm constantly have a running commentary while I'm like doing something, while I'm fiddling with this and fiddling with the focus and doing this and doing that.
Finesse to it, man.
And then I would do that same picture in 3 frames, and it would be done, and it would be great. And I think, for me personally, digital is kind of maybe a little lazy a little bit, whereas you could just blast away a little bit and you do things in post.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because it's like a 35 millimeter camera. So there was a reason why I purposefully would not shoot 35, because it would make me do that.
Well, it's also, you're shooting 4x5. You're talking about 2 frames on a one film
holder, yeah.
You're way more intentful than 30 frames per second figured out later.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Oh, dude, I was taking Polaroid Type 55, one sheet to Afghanistan.
So that gives you a positive and a negative, by the way. You can actually get a negative out of
I miss that stuff so much. It was the most perfect film.
I have a memorial tattoo to 669 on my leg. That's how much I miss that stuff.
It was such a, like, for example, now you see all these companies making these sort of like camera backs for the Instax films. So I have one for the Hasselblad, because I still need Polaroid. Sorry, I like to see the picture before I, and now I'm trying to get one. I shoot some 8x10, which is crazy, I know.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to find, so I got to get a reducing back and then get that. So yeah, it's a bit convoluted, but it is what it is.
It's a lot of effort, but also when people react differently to when they see something like that in this era. It's like, it's not a phone, number one. Number two, it's not a generic black camera that looks like every other camera out there. They're going, what is this? Why? What are we getting with this?
I was in India and I pulled out my Hasselblad, and people were just like, what is that?
Which Hasselblad are you doing?
500C, 501C, the classic. Classic.
Chrome edges.
Yeah, the classic one.
Yeah.
And the people were like, what is that? They were looking at you from a very different perspective. I come from a generation where you would go, people ask you what you did, you say photographer, they would ask you what type of photographer.
Yeah.
Now you ask you what type of photographer, they go, what do you do for work?
You know what's also cool about a Hasselblad, though? People get a chance to look through it. Like, you hand them, they look right through that waist finder, and they go, oh.
It's just such a different experience for people. Yes. And I think they look at you in a very different way.
Yeah.
That you're an artist. I think more than just a photographer at this point, because everybody's a photographer. Not that's a bad thing. It's just how it is.
Well, it's almost like cinema versus like video, right? Like there's a cleanly over clinical. Now here's like a little more depth to it.
Yes, exactly.
By the way, guys, we're live for a reason. If you guys have any questions, go for it. Mike Carbajal, welcome. Seeing you in a minute. Mike Baker, Daniel, Shirla.
Yeah, ask away.
And India is in the chat. They're saying what's up to you, so that's cool.
Well, it is the middle of the night over there.
Well, that's the other thing, right? It's like you're dealing in, first of all, when you're traveling, I don't think people realize while you're traveling, you're getting to an assignment, you're probably already groggy. Your time frame is all off. You've got to acclimate while you're about to get to work. Then you got to be personable.
Yeah.
Like, that's
not be grouchy, be thinking. You got to think on your feet because there's always some problems. But I think I don't get jet lagged anymore so much.
Really?
I'm just always tired now. So no, it's weird. I remember when I was younger, when I first started, I hit Europe. I just had to go to sleep and take a nap. Now I'm there at 6 a.m. All right, let's do something.
I think so. I'm a little bit on the same boat. Like, I don't feel as horrible anymore. And I thought about it, like, I think the planes just got different. I think that, first of all, like, we're going to Vegas soon for WPPI. It used to be a 7-something hour flight. It is 4.5 hours, 5 hours. Like, something's changed somewhere. I know it could be the main plane. I know it could be us. You could be acclimating.
The thing is, I always get up anywhere in the world where I am. 2:30 in the morning is like I wake up in the middle of the night. Doesn't matter if I'm in China or if I'm in New York. It's somewhere weird. How does that happen? 2:30 local time. But the thing is, I'll wake up hungry.
Okay,
your stomach is reminding you, hey, it's time to eat.
How often? Like, how much of the year do you feel you travel? Like, what does your actual schedule feel like?
The high times, man, I was traveling 7 months out of the year. Now, 5, 4. It varies.
Yeah.
Like now right now I'm starting to travel next week. I have travels all the way into April, into May. Going to be in Europe, in Italy. I'm going to be in India. I'm going to be in Macedonia. I'm going to probably be back in India, in Europe again, and maybe Switzerland. And then I'm going to be in Nepal in June.
So Shirley's actually asking, what do you recommend for people starting photography now, as far as getting started, or like method of getting work? Is that what you're asking? But honestly, just go shoot and keep going. Like, You're not getting anywhere sitting idle. That's the way I say it.
Yeah, I mean, starting in photography, it's like, wow, it's. I wish I had the magic words for you.
Yeah, well.
I mean, it's always been a struggle. Look, I'll give you words of advice I learned. 1983, I was working for Hero, big still life guy, giant, like one of the best in that time frame. The guy was printing money.
They said yes to both.
And I was washing dishes, as you did in those days. We'd shoot a campaign in the morning.
Okay.
He'd go take a nap, and then we shoot another campaign at night. And I was washing dishes, and at one point, he had this brownstone on Upper East Side, and I sense the presence behind me, and I turn around, and I see him, and he's like, "Oh, hey, Hero, you need something?" He's like, "Why are you here?" I go, I want to learn photography. No. But she goes, there are easier ways to make money. And this is a guy that was probably making 50 grand a day. He was sleeping in money. 50, and
in the 80s.
In the 80s. He was like literally printing money. And you know what? Every time those words have been burned into my mind when I'm like schlepping gear or I'm sitting in some airport, and I'm thinking, but I'm privileged, to be honest, to be a photographer, to be able to do what I've done all these years and to still continue.
You get to see the world.
I would not trade it for anything in the world. There is no better job.
I think that's what people don't understand is first you have to want to do it.
Yeah.
People don't get that whole part. They skip that whole part and they think like, followers, blah, 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 whatever it is, right? Someone's saying hello to you. You're
My nephews. Yep. Hey.
You brought in a ringer.
Thank you. You got to have the ringers, man.
So she's asking, for those that dream to do what you do, what do you say to them? And they're over here, by the way.
What do I say to them? I mean, like Seth was saying, it's you gotta want it, number one, and you gotta constantly, but you gotta approach it with like the idea of doing something great. Sorry.
No, sorry. Don't.
And thinking about it's not just about the work. It's not just about the photographs. It's the whole thing. The why, what you're doing. That shows in your photographs. They have to have soul. And I think people and cultivate soft skills. You know what soft skills are? Soft skills are, to me, that is what's gotten me around the world, is just being nice to people and knowing how to talk to people. Regardless of whatever culture you're in, you have to know how to be approachable. You have to know how to approach people to get what you want. But at the same time, it's a compromise. You can't look at it as like, I want this and I need this and I'm going to do this. No. The world does not function like that. You have to be. So if you want to work with clients, you have to make them feel good that you understand what they want, that you're not going to embarrass them and their money's well spent. And then also the people you're working with in situ on location, that they're part of this something that's interesting and something great.
If you're going to work with people, you have to be good with people. Like it's that simple. But it's not just like photographing people. If you shoot still life, whatever, we've always said, like, I think every show we get to a point of it's all about relationships, right?
Absolutely.
So that producer has to like you, that art director has to like you, the people that work for you have to like you,
I mean, you can't look at things as a vendor that you're selling them something. You got to be thinking like a partner.
That's good,
You got to be looking at like potential clients. It's like, I'm here to help you with your problem. And even if you don't hire me, I'm more than happy to talk to you about stuff and give you advice. You know what I'm saying? Like, for example, I have clients that just don't have budget. They don't have money to pay me to do something.
Oh, you mean every client? Every client ever, period?
No, I'm trying to be generous here. trying to keep positive. The money thing is a challenge these days.
I want this for this. What can you do?
And then, at the same time, I'm more than happy to like give them guidance. I mean, having clients are like it's like dating. You gotta be constantly like giving them something. You gotta be constantly getting affirmation.
It's a courtship.
And it's a two-way street, but sometimes it's very much a one-way street. And you got to be able to just suck it up, and because what's going to happen is when they have money, most likely they're going to think about you. But you can't think about it that way. It's not about that. You got to think about your benefit is my desire. And I have clients I don't work for a year, 2, and all of a sudden they'll like call me out of the blue.
Yeah, you know what I found is educated clients go one of two ways. One, if you are educating the client, they appreciate it because you were like, here's what it actually costs to do this, by the way. It's not just pushing a button. If you were to rent all this, get this guy, get this studio, get whatever, and then you start, they go, oh, right? And then you have the educated client that is aware of everything, and then they get a little clever with like, well, I know you don't really need to rent that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or like whatever.
No,
you know?
I feel also, I think most of my clients now, before when I started, most of the conversations you would have with clients would be artistic ones. Now, and creative ones. Now you're having business conversations.
Well, you get the business first, and then you get the art director that's 20 years old that shows you a mood board. that comes that second step.
No.
In my world, it is.
They'll show you something from Instagram. This is my favorite. I'll give you a great story. So I have this one project, and I'm going to some place. I think it was India probably, and they want to do these photos, and it was like this particular like community or something like that. And they showed me that somebody had a website, some Instagram page, and beautiful stuff, beautiful. And they're like, oh, we want something like this. I go, but if you look carefully, it's different seasons this is happening. And if you look carefully, how long was this person doing this there? You want me to go there in 2 days to do this?
Right.
It takes time to sometimes. So yeah, they which is okay. I'm just managing expectations, So it used to be you competed against peers in New York.
Mm-hmm.
Now, maybe in the rest of the country. Now you're competing against the world.
Yep.
And there are people doing great work. That's not to say that people are doing bad work. I mean, I see so much great work on there. I'm sometimes a little, jealous.
Yeah, you get a little.
But at the same time, you got to think about your skills and what you bring to the table. And like I say, soft skills. I cannot tell you how important that is. I mean, when I was younger, you can get away with being a jerk. I remember I worked for many jerk photographers. Oh, I could tell you great stories. Furniture being thrown, great stuff. Great stuff.
The diva ego stuff.
But now that doesn't wash. Unless you're really doing super high-end stuff, maybe that washes a little bit.
You'll get the job, but people don't realize that the job is also the audition for the rest of the jobs. Everyone you work with will remember it and either recommend you or not want to work with you again or something like that. Like the job isn't the end all. The job is the jump off for the next thing. And people forget that real easily. And to what you said, if you get discouraged looking at someone else's work, just know someone out there is discouraged looking at your work too. Someone's sweating your stuff too, right?
I mean, to me, the biggest belief is you got to believe in yourself.
Yeah, and that's hard.
That's
hard.
The only thing that's going to keep you moving. When even in those times, not a month goes by, I lose out on projects. You put energy into this.
Another day, another project.
You put something you think you already started to spend the money before you even get it. And now I'm just like, that wasn't meant for me. Next time. Or you analyze it and maybe you didn't do something correct. And you think, okay, well, how can I make this better?
That's true. But there's also there's an entire world and things going on at the same moment you're there. You have to realize something else will come along. Or there's something else.
And to be honest, it's not about you most of the time.
It's never about you.
It's about their priorities, not you.
They're coming to you to get all the problems off their back. You're a solution. I need these images this way. You worry about the rest of it. That's why I'm hiring you, right? Someone in the chat, Monty's asking, when did you realize you wanted to become a photographer? What drove you to follow your passion?
Here's another ringer. That's my daughter. Thank you, Monty. So, Montserrat Vazquez, she's a very good illustrator, by the way. Where I came from, I consider myself the generation of the West Side Story Puerto Ricans.
Okay.
So wow. I grew up where it was you had to become professional. Mm-hmm. You had to be in order to move up in society. You had to be an architect, a doctor, an engineer. That was the only work that was considered valid. And then art. Never went to museums growing up. That was never something on the radar. Even though my parents had the best intentions of providing, but that was beyond their sort of scope on life. So it really took me when I was I studied electrical engineering.
Whoa!
I went to aviation high school in Queens, so I'm licensed to repair aircraft. By the way, if anybody's looking for any aircraft mechanics,
that's awesome though.
And I studied. When I left, the airlines were laying off people because it was the time they're deregulating the airlines. So they used to come to my high school to hire mechanics, United Airlines, American Airlines. So that was not happening during that time.
Wow.
So I decided, and I think, I want to be professional. The mentality growing up. So engineering, I like being mechanical. So, and that's where I met a photographer during that time. And photography was a hobby for me. And I worked for him. I would cut class, work for him on some jobs. He'd call me up. And, I'd be assisting, still life jobs. It'd be we'd do catalog, black and white catalog. I'd be shooting all day, and then we'd be processing film all night long and making contact sheets. I loved it.
Nice.
And then I went, summertime came, and he goes, hey, I'm looking for somebody to work full time. I go, you know what? While I'm on summer, I'll work for you. I never went back. I'm like, you know what? This isn't for me. This is for me, this photography. And I got to tell you, it's that one person in your life that will change your whole mentality about how things work. You know what I'm saying? Open up a world that maybe you know about, but you don't really understand. And he told me, he goes, you know what? You need to grow. You need to learn more. He bought me a ticket to Paris. Go travel to Paris. Yeah, on the time I was working for him, he's like, 2 weeks, just go.
How old are you?
18.
18 going to Paris on someone else's dime.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get hooked on it too.
I remember falling asleep when I would get jet lagged. I remember falling asleep in the Louvre because you couldn't check in the hostel at that time. So I sat down and I fell asleep for like an hour until somebody, hey, yell at me in French. Of course, now I'm very used to people yelling at me in different languages.
Yeah,
so
well.
I'm used to that now.
Have you tried to learn any languages, by the way? Like, I feel like
I speak English, I speak Spanish, a little bit of French, some Italian, some Hindi. Actually, I mean, it doesn't matter. I can get along with anybody. Some Russian, actually, because I had some Russian clients I was working with. Russian's hard.
It sounds hard.
It's hard.
I've dated a few Russian women I dated, and it always sounded like they were angry at me. And I was like, oh, no.
Yeah.
It's like,
they kind of are.
I don't know, man. I don't know.
Those are words of love.
Yeah, well, we're going to leave this one alone.
So yeah, I mean, I think that, I speak the universal language. You smile at people. You get a lot better things done. Although every now and then it helps to be a New Yorker. You know how to act appropriately.
Yeah. Well, we had Bonnie Bice on here, and there's something about Bonnie that keeps saying she's very disarming. Mm. And I think that's like a quality everyone has to have. If you're going to a place cold meeting people to then connect with them, you need disarming, I feel. Like, you need to feel like, why am I going to be so defensive to this human?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, I've been times where I'll be in Nairobi sitting in some bar with a bunch of locals drinking beer. The tabletop's full of like empty bottles that we've been drinking. They have like 2.5% beer, so you don't get drunk. And I'm like going to pick out what strips of goat meat we should eat that they could fry up so we could eat. So those are the things you have to be able to just be comfortable. And in different situations. I think this is the main thing. Man,
if I were you, I'd be like, Netflix, get a crew to follow me and let's do a series.
I don't know. It might be boring. I'm kind of boring.
I don't know, man. Like, I think there's a lot of angles to it. I think people don't realize, look, the images are one thing that's amazing, but people don't realize what all has to accumulate to get to that point. And I think you should totally do it. And come on, Netflix says green lights everything.
Well, like, I'll give you a picture there with me holding the chicken. With the African ladies. There's the first, I think it's on top. No, that was the goats. That was different. There was one on top in the beginning.
I love this goat one.
Yeah. I make friends everywhere. There we go. So that, I was doing a story on maternal health. So there's women that have obstetric fistula. So they have problems doing childbirth. And it's a serious problem in Africa. I mean, all these poor women just suffering with the misconceptions about this, like it's a bad thing. And it's an easy fix. So anyway, I'm there and I spent time with these women, and they're just amazing.
Yeah.
They're just amazing. And I'm there, and before I left, they gave me a chicken.
So what do you do with it?
And a bag of avocados.
Okay.
To go with the chickens. Okay. There's a garnish. So I gave it to the driver. But, he's probably was a very, very nice chicken stew at some point. But, and I remember the person I was with, they're like, oh, accept it. I go, of course I'm going to accept this.
Yeah.
Because they look at their experiences as Americans sometimes are just not as well traveled, and they're afraid of stuff.
Oh yeah,
and you can't be afraid of anything. You just gotta just roll with everything that's put in front of you.
You don't think there's an Anthony Bourdain aspect to this whole thing?
maybe.
I don't think you're seeing this whole picture, man.
I don't know. I just want to do what I do. Yeah,
you're just lazy.
Completely lazy. Yes.
So
very lazy. I just want to do what I want. Like that top with Run DMC.
Boom.
I was an assistant. We were shooting in Keith. Oh, man, I was skinny and dorky. I'm slightly less skinny and slightly less dorky.
Like you just walked out of Saved by the Bell.
Well, so we were photographing Keith Haring's studio for Adidas.
Yeah, you could tell the background.
And run. So we're there, we're leaving, and this is day of film. It's a 4x6 print. And we're like leaving, and the photographer's like, oh, yeah, they're like, oh, run. He goes, yeah, let's take a picture of Willie Will. That was my little nickname they had for me. So yeah, I was there, and I took it. And then we went to go see them in the Apollo. It was just those experiences. It was just amazing. You're hanging out with Keith Haring interesting guy, by the way, in his own way. And these dudes were just cool. They were like the coolest guys. They were like the height of their celebrity status. So it was just, yeah. And, and that was just like a regular day. I mean, to be honest, it was just how it worked. You worked on stuff like that and you'd just be like.
Yeah, but I think that builds professionalism. I think people don't realize you have to build a callus to not being like starstruck. You got to realize you're just doing the job. Like, it's the ones that get shook about the profile of people around them that don't come back. I think it's part of it is building a callus to this.
I think it's just treating everyone equally.
Yeah, it's just another human.
I mean, I treat the person who I find in some farm, someplace in the middle of nowhere, the same as these guys.
Yeah,
you know
very
what I'm saying?
true.
So, I think that is something that you have to cultivate as a skill.
You got a few questions in the chat. So
Okay.
Tim's asking, do you have an exercise or keep fit regime that you use to keep yourself in condition while you're traveling?
Oh, God.
You do a lot of walking, right?
I do a lot of walking, a lot of
gear.
standing. Yeah, unfortunately, I remember when I was assisting for guys my age now, and they were like, they have 5 assistants. We had a bunch of stuff. You never carried anything. I want to grow up to be that. Now I've grown up. I'm not that.
Well, the world's
I'm
changed.
by myself, humping stuff across the planet. By myself, backpack full of stuff. Although, I got to tell you, I've gotten my gear down to a point that, it's if I can't carry it, it's not going. Unless I'm doing like a production, that's a different story.
Yeah, but like we were talking about before we went live, I'm like, what I used to take 7 Pelicans for can fit in my backpack now.
Dude, my first global job I did, an annual report, I was in London, Milan, Tokyo, Sao Paulo, South Africa. I carried like Balcar battery strobes because they're the only ones that, you remember how heavy those things were?
They're about this tall?
Yeah. And they were like, so, and luckily my sister was an ex-Marine. Jeff, I hope you're watching. And he, I'm going to bitch about you a little bit. Sorry. He was complaining the whole time about how heavy everything was. I go, dude, that's why I have you here,
Yeah.
And, it was film. This was before the whole digital thing happened. And it was just a lot of stuff. Everything was on a cart, 5 cases.
Dude,
Him and me.
So I ran Speedotrons, which is about the same size.
God bless your soul.
Yeah, well, I had a kid in a metal shop in a high school, which got access to. I got to spot weld a metal like cart to the bottom of it just so I could get it around everywhere. Because you're literally holding from that handle, and that handle breaks. Now you're holding it like a sack of potatoes. You're trying to get it everywhere. So I remember spot welding my wheels to my.
Was it 2400 or 4800?
2400, 2403. Yeah, 2403.
I remember when I was assisting, I worked for these guys, and we'd be taking 5-6 cases of stuff, and it would just be a ton of lights, and it was just crazy.
Everything
large format cameras.
It was the lights needed supports, which needed power, which needed modifiers. Everything was just adding to things, but also, if you need to do video for some reason, that was an entirely different setup. You had to, and don't forget, you needed media, DV tapes, or whatever it was. It wasn't just going into a memory card that was this big.
Yeah.
Like
bag of film. I remember that was like the most precious thing on the job.
Lead bags at the airport. Do you remember those?
I still carry that, and they still X-ray it, so it's still.
I remember asking for hand check. You'll never get that ever again.
You can do it here.
Yeah.
Anywhere else. Anyway, you just got to be nice.
What are you trying to say, man? What are you trying to say?
I know, Seth, maybe a little hard-edged.
Come on. I'm just loud.
But I mean, for exercise, I'm walking all the time. So, I mean, literally, that's the best exercise you can do. Is
but you're sitting on a plane, your back gets out of whack.
Yeah, I'm not 20 anymore, so it's the miles, it's not the age.
I get it, right?
And I sit in the cheap seats. No business class for me. It's a rarity where I was able to sit on like the really nice, really rare. Now I do 15-hour flights to Delhi nonstop, which I don't recommend, by the way, especially through that airline, which I'm not going to say, but it's just painful.
There's no airline that's throwing you points left and right for all this
Yeah,
travel?
but the problem is I work in so many different airlines. I go to so many different places, and now the point system is, it's not the same. You got to fly so much more to get so much less.
Yeah, well, that's true.
And you got to spend a lot of money. So it's like, I don't even bother anymore. I go for the points, and I get some benefit, but it used to be an obsession. But like that movie with George Clooney, Up in the Air.
Yeah.
And now it's just like, it feels like it's like a bucket that you're never going to fill.
How would you rank your favorite airlines? Because you travel so much.
Well,
What's your go-to if you can?
Qatar. Could be great. Qatar. Emirates is great. The American Airlines,
I'm not into American.
they're not
I'm into
great.
JetBlue. I'm a JetBlue guy.
I don't, at this way, I just look at it as like, it's like Zen mode. I got 6 hours here. I got to just like suck it up.
Well, I'll tell you, JetBlue wouldn't be over because they handled my gear the best. If there was no overhead, they were always like, no, we'll put it here. We found a place where I don't have to check 5 figures of gear here.
I don't think anybody cares anymore. This is how I see it. I'm a cynic. There's a little bit of my New York cynic right there. It's like no one cares. You know,
yeah, that's the other thing. JetBlue is New York based, so I feel like I always can catch a flight home.
Yeah, that's true. This is true. This is true.
Another question is: out of all the places you visited and photographed, what was your favorite, most memorable?
No, I am a optimist. Everything I look at, it's very rare where I look at something and go, man, I hate that place. I'm never going there again. Because I always find something good. I mean, that's my personality, and that's my. I mean, it's funny. I'm a cynical New Yorker on one side, and the other side, I'm like, this is great. Yeah, it's okay. You ignore that.
You're cynical when you're home.
Yeah.
But when you're away, you're like,
When people are walking slow on the steps, you know, big backpacks. It's like
top of the escalator when they don't move, you're going down. Look at your face.
Yes, I have many of those pet peeves. This is true, but I try to leave those in New York. You know.
I try to give the benefit of the doubt that everyone outside of New York isn't like this. So I'm like,
yes, exactly.
People smile at you in other places.
I have warned people when I'm traveling and they're giving me a hard time. I go, don't make me get New York on you.
Yeah.
Because it's just going to be painful. I've actually told people at the airports where I'm just like stuck someplace and I've been on the wrong line for an hour. And then I get to the head of the line. They're like, oh, no, you're on the wrong line. It's the other line. I go, please, I beg you. I don't want to be on YouTube tonight, one of those people that you see freaking out at the airport, because I'm like this close to that. I don't want to be that person. Please don't let me, because don't make me be that person.
Don't you think you've got to be a ninja at this point with dealing with airlines? Don't you think you've been through so much of it all over the world?
Like I say, niceness and genuine niceness, not just being smart with people. You got to be like nice to people. Nice gets you a long way. Every now and then you got to be hard with them, but there's a skill to that. There's a skill to all these traveling. In America, it's very different in most places in the sense of how you move around, how you interact with people, how you, like the art of like just getting things done by, a little bakshish, little tips. Americans don't learn how to do that because everything is like,
old school Americans do though.
Yeah. So, but that is a skill that's how much. And because you don't want to do too much, because that's bad, because then they're going to want more, but not enough that they're going to be offended. So it's and also when do you do that? Mm-hmm. If it's necessary, sometimes it's not. Just being nice and talking to people long enough, they'll finally come around to your thinking.
I think it's like a street skill.
Yeah.
Like there's something to it about that. You're being very street smart, which I think we're losing more and more as we aren't in the streets as
like
much.
I told you, soft skills.
Soft skills. See, do a book on soft skills.
I should do a blog on soft skills. It's just like nonstop,
Why not? Come on, I got to get you working.
Soft skills. Oh, man, I work enough. Are you kidding?
But what was your favorite, most memorable place? Because you didn't even answer that. See how he skates around? He's not answering the hard questions, guys. See this?
Because I don't find, I like India a lot. I mean, it's got like a lot of downside, but it's really a place I love because I feel, it's weird, but I feel at home there. And people welcome me.
Why not?
Yeah, and people welcome me like, like a local in a lot of ways.
Well, I'm sure you know spots. People at those spots.
Yeah, and I know how to interact with people in there. So, but any place. And I'm Latino, so any place that speaks Spanish,
you're in.
That's like, half the world, especially after Bad Bunny's thing yesterday. Now we're like Puerto Ricans are on the map.
Yeah, finally. I tell you, half of New York is Puerto Rican, bro. Like, it's like, good luck.
Well, Nueva York.
Oh, man. Can you imagine what the parade's going to be like this year?
Yes, Sunday was not Super Bowl day. It was Puerto Rican day.
Oh, that's fair. Honestly, that's great.
Celebration of Puerto Rican culture and also Latin culture in general. So it was.
A lot of people learned a lot real quick.
It was a good moment.
I think.
Yeah. So yeah.
Positive.
Yeah.
Jay Betts is asking, what organization did you work for when he was on assignment?
It's funny. I started. I'm a working person. I need to earn a living.
He's lazy, but he works.
I need to earn a living. So I'm lazy in the sense that I focus on things that are going to actually become profitable for me. And it's not about money all the time. It's about things that you want to do. And profit, I mean not money profit, but things that feed your soul, give you some sort of sense of something, bring you closer to something else, inspire you. Mm-hmm. That is what I mean by profit, because those things are hard to find, not just the money. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, those are the things I tend to focus on. So I work for a lot of companies, and I started working the humanitarian side because they would give money to these like philanthropic And then I started working for the organizations also. And then I started doing my personal projects. So when I'm in India, I have a bunch of NGOs. I do pro bono stuff for them while I'm there.
But there's got to be overlap at some point. Like I've worked for them. There's people that are similar.
And the thing is, it's also, people across the board. Oh, I know people in that place. I'll talk to them directly and get this done.
Got it.
Because at the end, you're getting hired to solve problems, not create them.
Well, you're also probably a go-to guy at some point. You've delivered enough, been reliable enough, at a level enough.
Yeah.
Let's just go to them.
Yeah, exactly. But like I said before in the beginning of this conversation, it's just the business of that has changed remarkably. So it's the people have left, or there's less priority, or they're retired. So it's you got to hustle.
Oh, this is a good question. Daniel's asking, if you were planning your camera voyage in New York City, what would you include here?
Oh my God, artists, musicians, photographers.
What spots though?
What spots? I mean, uptown, downtown, Brooklyn. I would take you to Bushwick, but like old Bushwick.
I was about to say
old Bushwick, or Brownsville.
I'm in Bushwick, so
Brownsville, where I started out, which is still
I like the
on
parts
the edge.
Look, I grew up in Marine Park when I was a little kid.
Yeah.
The parts of Brooklyn that don't have trains by them are a different
or
animal.
even down to south, like Sheep's Head Bay, which is Ukrainian, super Russian, super picturesque places. I mean, and there are artists all over the Bronx. I know so many people here. It would be a cultural, like I said, anything that's interesting is going to be photogenic.
And the thing about New York is it's constantly changing.
Yeah.
So like in 3 years, that same voyage at those same spots is completely
Yeah. I mean, look, the worst part is I'm hardly here.
Yeah.
So someone asked me, oh, it's a good place in New York. You know what? I can tell you a great place in Mumbai.
I find myself Googling places like, is it still there?
I'm a little out of touch.
Yeah.
I hate to say it, but it's like, I've just.
Well, COVID changed the city so dramatically.
Yeah. And I'm just hyper focused on things I'm working on. So it's like, it's
New York, he gave up on you, right? Just letting you know.
I'm not giving up. I mean, I like being here. The energy here, you can't find any place. It's absolutely true. And
so they're asking any countries you want to go to that are currently forbidden or unable to travel at the moment due to world events.
Well, I've been to Cuba. And I like it very much. I wouldn't recommend going there now because they have so many problems right now. And it's not conducive, not because of the issues of that. It's just the practical logistical aspects of it. But Iran, it's, like I was in Afghanistan. That's an amazing place. The people, 2006 during the war.
Wow.
Yeah, but I stayed in Kabul. So it was very controlled. But it was just, one of those people are wonderful. I mean, unless you get those checkpoints, which are a little scary, you're getting questioned with guns pointed at you. But, I mean, that's places that, so for example, I go to Nepal a lot, right? And it's one of the few places in this world that's like very safe to travel to and still very much unexplored, many parts of it. I mean, yeah, you have the Everest Base Camp and all that kind of stuff, but I do projects up in the Northwest that are just like these small villages that are like no electricity, no Wi-Fi, no internet. They have a satellite uplink that you got to make an appointment to make a phone call on.
Nice.
And it is the most amazing experience you could possibly have.
Does it give you any anxiety to be that disconnected sometimes?
No, I'm thinking, because I'm busy, I got stuff going on, but I'm going to go back. So I'm not, the world's not going to end in the week I'm there. So, hopefully. So I think that, in June, I'm working on a project out there for this organization called CETA.
Okay.
And what they do is they build schools up there. So education is like a big issue in these parts of the world,
sure, yeah.
And for a lot of reasons. And it's actually cultural issues like Tibetan, Nepali, because they're so close to each other. It's so far away from the capital of Nepal that it's actually more Tibetan because they're closer to Tibet.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, so it's an interesting sort of mix of things, but beautiful people. Almost died my last time I was there. Yeah, my horse decided to throw me into the river.
Wait.
Remember the cowboy stuff?
What? Don't just gloss over. Wait, what? Did you break something where you're drowning? What do you mean you almost died because your horse threw you into a river?
All right, I'm a New Yorker. What wildlife are we usually used to? Pigeons and rats. I don't get on horses. So I'm on a horse. Like, okay, the horse, sure. I do whatever. Get on the horse. My horse, he was giving me trouble the whole way. Wouldn't go on, keep on the trail. I had to constantly correct him.
Gave you the bum horse, huh?
And then, it's a Tibetan pony, so it's small. And you're on a saddle with the stirrups are very high, so your legs. So when you step off of this thing, you can barely walk because your knees are just beat.
Okay.
Anyway, we're crossing this river. It's about 3 feet, about a meter. I'm looking this way, taking a picture of some other people on the trail. The horse stumbles on the riverbed because it was like big rocks, and he kind of So, and I'm a little slow in compensating instead of leaning. So the saddle starts rotating, sliding ever so slowly. So I'm like, oh shit, I'm going in the water. So I'm like, oh, what do I do? So I have my camera in my hand here. I have my phone. I was still traveling for another 2 weeks. I can't let that get wet. So I had it in my pocket. So I pulled it out. I fall in the water, holding the phone up. The problem is my boot is stuck in the stirrup. And the horse decides to start walking.
And dragged you?
And dragging me. And the water sort of like, my head is coming in and out. And the phone never got wet, though. It's important.
What year was this? Because phones can get wet now.
Yeah, no, that was before. No, it was what, 6 years ago?
You can get phones wet.
Oh,
well, iPhones you can. I
don't know how you can drown it that much. It didn't matter. Okay. I didn't want to test it.
All right, fine. Fair.
What they say and what happens is two different
You're lucky
things.
you didn't hit your head.
So I'm holding onto a rock. And so the horse can walk, and I'm holding onto the phone. And then finally, one of the dudes that was coming, he comes running over. Of course, he knew it was important. Took my phone, put it in his mouth, and he pulled my boot out of the stirrup, and rest of me falls into the water. And I finally get up, ice cold water, completely soaked. And then you're above the tree line. So there's no place to get changed, no trees, no bushes. So
you're drenched.
You can't be shy. You just you take. Luckily, my bag was on another horse.
Okay. So
I took it off to get changed. Nepalis have a skill. They amazing how they come out of nowhere. So from 1 minute there's 3, next minute there's 10 guys. Look at the naked guy.
And you don't think Netflix would be interested in this?
So luckily I was in good shape then. It wasn't just a fat guy.
Actually, Sal, if you're watching, Sal, I need you to talk to this guy. Maybe we can do a series here.
So it was great. I mean, it was just amazing.
What? Okay, man.
And then I had to get back on that horse again.
I'm sure you did.
No. And then we had to climb this hill where you're going downhill, literally 45-degree handle while you're holding on the horn, the tail of the horse, so you don't fall while the horse is quivering under you, walking down this thing. I don't know how I just... So yeah, I try to limit the cowboy stuff a little bit.
Yeah, a little bit, huh? Well, I hate to bring in but I actually did want to ask you a question. So how do you do due diligence about the organizations you work with? Because we've seen a lot of times organizations seem great on the surface and there's a whole problem with it. How do you know who to work with?
Well, I've worked enough in that area that I know people and I'll ask. And especially if they work with bigger organizations. A lot of the small organizations work with bigger organizations.
Are they subsidiaries?
No, for example, if they work in country, like the big American organizations, they don't have expertise on the ground or they don't have an office there. So they have to work with locals. So they'll work with the local,
That's fair, yeah.
So yeah, this is how I think I see that. See, you can see the website. You can tell. I mean, you go meet people, you can tell. Yeah.
I feel like every now and then I open my phone, there's what Oprah's, what is scandalous? What? So it's hard. I think a lot of people want to get started in something.
I get people all the time hitting me up on WhatsApp. They find my name someplace or my number. They want me to donate. They want me to come. I mean, and I just can't. Right. I mean, and the worst part is a lot of these organizations are legit. They're just working with literally no money.
Right.
I mean, there'd be some person in the village who's as a teacher or whatever, and they're trying to help their kids. And, but it's you got to do, you can't help everybody. So you got to be.
I'm sure there's a little bit of janked organizations that.
There are a lot. Absolutely. You kidding? There's always somebody out, on the take.
Well, I mean, also just workflow or process wise or communication, the balls get dropped when there isn't money. You know what I'm saying? There's a jank to the operational.
Yeah. And also where you're going. I mean, there's a lot of like, for example, there's just some parts of the world that you're just dangerous to travel to. So you have to be very careful. I mean, don't go to places that you don't know.
Don't go to places that you
don't know completely. You don't have local help. You don't walk into some country like Congo or Nigeria or Afghanistan for that matter, because you're going to get in trouble. People are going to take advantage of you. They're going to take in trouble. You really need to do your homework and connect with people that are legit in these places. So at least you have some motive of some support in these local places. I mean, and even me, who's been doing it for a long time, I have that.
We want to leave it there, man. That's the hour, guys. So,
oh man, sorry, I can keep going. Yeah.
Do me a favor, follow this guy, stay up on his stuff. Maybe we'll figure out a series or something. I mean, are you kidding me?
Thanks for following.
Don't forget, you guys can check out the events channel because tonight, 5 p.m. on this QR. Look at this. I feel like a weatherman sometimes. Like, this right here, scan it. Go follow the events channel, 5 p.m. Susan Tripling's doing a live demo. I got live demos on there. I'm going to try to get this guy to do some kind of talk or something at some point. William, I want to thank you so much for joining us.
My pleasure.
And don't forget, guys, like, it's up to you. You have to want to do this. And here's the type of person.
Yeah, more than happy. Reach out to me, message. I'm more than happy to talk about any questions you have.
All right, guys, if you like this episode, there are 79 other episodes just like this. Check out the Coffee Creators playlist. Hit like, helps out, feeds his soul a little bit.
Yeah.
If you're watching this playback, drop some comments. Yeah, feed his soul. Hit subscribe and the bell so you get notified when we go live out of here. Thank you guys so much. Stop by Adorama. I'll see you on the next one. Have a great rest of the week, everybody. Be good out there. Later.